Hello, and welcome to LaSalle University's Ladder Family Center series on LaSalle TV. My name is Catherine Fry, and I am the Program Coordinator and Graduate Assistant at the Ladder Family Center. I am also a graduate student here at LaSalle University in the Marriage and Family Therapy program. It will be my pleasure to talk to you today about some of our specific programs here at Ladder. Before we get started, I'd like to take this time to share with you a little about Ladder and its services. Ladder stands for LaSalle Autism and Developmental Disabilities Education Resources. LaSalle recognizes that there is a need for resources for families and children that are autistic and/or have a developmental delay. Our mission here at Ladder is to positively enhance the quality of life for those children and their families. We wish to embrace them as partners in the process of providing a unique, coordinated, and multidisciplinary experience to create positive expectations, actions, and solutions. Ladder is unique in that we are a center comprised of a multidisciplinary team, including education, psychology, speech, language, and hearing pathology, marriage and family therapy, and social work. We create an individualized and highly comprehensive support network for our families, as well as offering volunteer and internship experiences. Our newest initiative, and the one that we will be talking about the most today, is our Passport to Success program. Transition has become a major topic across the nation. We have seen major strides and development in the areas of early intervention and supports that are implemented throughout the primary schooling years. But it is also important to assess the unique needs of these students after graduation, especially if they are planning to be enrolled in a university setting. Going from high school to college is challenging for all students. However, some unique challenges arise when it comes to those on the autism spectrum and/or with developmental disabilities. These students are going from a high school setting that is highly structured to a new environment where they are now in charge of their own daily schedule. The student may also be used to receiving certain supports, such as a counselor or therapist. So now that they are transitioning, they will need to find new resources for those types of support that are needed. Relationships with a parent or caregiver will also be changing during this transition. This can be particularly challenging if the student is not comfortable reaching out to establish relationships with others or supplement these distanced relationships and could result in isolation. Personal hygiene, time management, transportation, managing money, and forming new friendships are all areas that these students are unfamiliar with navigating on their own. Many students have been governed by an IEP or individualized education plan for their primary schooling years, so they are unfamiliar with identifying the best ways that they learn. Understanding your own learning style is imperative for academic success, especially in college setting where the emphasis is placed on the student being responsible for their own learning. By being familiar with some of the challenges that commonly arise with these students, we can develop programs that will assist them in learning and mastering these skills and ultimately becoming their own self-advocates. When we come back in the next segment, we will detail the Passport to Success program and on Ladder's answer to the transition needs across our community.
When you're dying, what will it be like? You think you may know, until you see what hospice can do. Expert loving care that enables more cherished moments, more smiles, maybe one more dance. Turns out when you're dying, there's more living to do. These families discovered what hospice is. See what's possible at momentsoflife.org.
Vision loss is not something that you feel until it happens.
Most people lose their vision from diseases like macular degeneration and glaucoma, not at birth.
3 million Americans have glaucoma, and half don't even know it.
11 million people in the United States have macular degeneration.
So many eye disorders can be treated if caught early.
Make a plan today to get your eyes checked.
Visit brightfocus.org to learn more.
Welcome back to Autism and the Transition to College. We have been talking about the need for transition programs for students on the autism spectrum after they have graduated high school and LaSalle University's answer to that need. Under the guidance and support of the Associate Dean of Arts and Sciences, Dr. Sharon Shane, the Ladder Family Center has developed the Passport to Success program. The mission of Passport is to educate students dealing with executive functioning challenges such as autism or related behaviors by providing improved lifelong skill development to prepare for academic rigor, social emotional needs, and independent living skills. By providing continuous development and technical support to faculty, staff, peers, and community members, our students facing unique challenges will be better equipped to fully embrace the university experience. We emphasize competence building for students to improve areas that they have challenges. It is designed with a personalized program of individualized supports to allow students to develop strategies of success that are monitored and evaluated across time. There are many services included with Passport: an individualized orientation and tour based on the student's area of academic interest, access to our marriage and family therapist and social work interns to conduct routine check-ins and work with the student on creating goals and how to achieve them, our peer mentoring program called PALS, as well as other individualized supports. In the end, we want the student to be able to become their own self-advocate and to grow out of the supports that we provide for them and become independent, successful, lifelong learners and self-advocates. The peer mentoring program, or PALS program, that we have put in place for the Passport program is something that we are really very proud of here at Ladder. The students whom are mentors are from all different backgrounds and majors and are endlessly devoted to assisting with our Passport students. The mentors and Passport students develop reciprocal relationships with one another so that they may both learn and develop from one another's experiences. Today, we are very fortunate to have two of our PALS members with us. Would the two of you introduce yourselves and tell me a little bit about yourself?
So my name is Sarah Dundas, and I'm a speech, language, and hearing science major with a psychology minor and a leadership and global understanding minor. I'm involved in a couple of different things here on campus, including the MASC, REACH, which is a focus group through UMass, which stands for Raising Equality and Awareness for Adults and Children with Exceptionalities, and the National Student Speech, Language, and Hearing Science Association.
And my name is Joseph Rogers. I'm a sophomore secondary education and English major I'm also a Leadership and Global Understanding minor, and in addition to being part of the PALS program, I'm a resident assistant in St. Jerome Hall, and I'm also the Executive Vice President of the Students Government Association.
Great. Thank you to both of you for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
So first of all, what made the two of you choose to attend LaSalle University?
I chose LaSalle because of the emphasis on service. So that was something that I did a lot in high school and wanted to continue to do here at a university. So I chose LaSalle from that.
Great.
I had the privilege of attending 8 years of a Catholic elementary school, and I eventually went on to Central Catholic High School in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and it is a school that's run by the Christian Brothers that also run LaSalle University. So early on in my career at Central Catholic, I became familiar with the Christian Brothers, and every year brothers from LaSalle would come and do college visits at Central Catholic. So I became familiar with LaSalle early on in my high school experience. Now, my mother's family graduated from Duquesne University, 3 generations of them, and it was expected that I would eventually go to Duquesne University as well and join their ranks. But I became more familiar with LaSalle, and out of admiration for the Christian Brothers and their emphasis on service, faith, and community, I visited LaSalle University, and the rest is history. I joined LaSalle's community last year, and I'm enjoying every minute of it.
Great. So you both said that you're both very involved on campus, and there's quite a variety of ways to be involved here at LaSalle. So what kind of made the two of you choose to become involved in our peer mentor system, or PALS?
Well, I was encouraged last year by Dr. Carol Petrilo at the annual Autism Conference to consider joining the PALS program because of its relationship to my major, secondary education. The PALS program provides me with the opportunity to build one-on-one relationships with our students that we work with, and these skills will ultimately translate and help me become a better teacher, building one-on-one relationships with students and giving them the tools they need to succeed. It's all about working together, and that's really what interests me.
Great.
For me, I have a cousin who's on the spectrum, so that has always been something that has interested me. So it geared what I wanted to do with my life to be a speech therapist. And being here, I thought it would be a great place to get involved in the university because I do want to do speech therapy for children who have autism or on the spectrum. So I thought it was a good opportunity for me for my future career.
And if a student at the university would want to become enrolled in the PALS program and to be a mentor to other students, what are the requirements that they need, and how should they go about applying for that?
Well, we encourage any student interested in participating in our program to consider joining our group because we welcome students from every academic discipline to participate. Our group is a very diverse group of pals, and we come from many different academic disciplines. We have different skill sets and different interests. And this is important because it represents the diversity that we have here at LaSalle University. We have students that come from all walks of life, from all over the country, and we have many international students as well that come to this campus in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So it's only fitting that we have a group of pals that represent that diversity. With our Passport for Success students that come in here, they too have many different skills, interests, and academic programs. So it makes it easier for us to match them with a mentor that comes from a diverse background as well. The only commitment we have is we ask you to please commit one day a month for a meeting and training session at the Ladder Family Center on West Campus. And we also ask that you maintain a visible presence in the life of the student that you are a mentor for, because that's important for them to see that you are there for them.
Great. Sarah, the PALS go through a training program. So could you kind of explain to the viewers what that training program consists of and what topics you guys go through?
So as a pilot, we took the program, for training, and ran through the program as if that we had the students. So we went through different topics like organizational skills, studying skills, and note-taking and stuff like that. But we went through a year-long process of that, and they or the PALs, and everybody would come together for a week or a monthly meeting and talk about different things on how they organize and talk about different skills in that way. And
Great. So our Passport students are allowed to select 2 PALs that they kind of work more closely with. You said they have meetings once a month that they come in. So what's kind of the structure of these monthly meetings?
so for the meetings, we have them once a month. We have lunch at each meeting, so we sit in the beginning and kind of eat our lunch and kind of talk about different things that are going on around campus and in each of our lives. We then, from there, move on to a little icebreaker activity that is basically there to get everyone to know each other. We want to give the student that we're all mentoring different outlets. So me and Joe are a mentor for a student, but neither of us are in the honor society or the honors program. But we do have pals that are in the honors program. So getting everybody to know each other is important, because just because we're not in the honors program or something like that, he can go to someone else who is in that program. From the icebreaker, we move into the topic for the day, and we all kind of talk about, for example, if it's organization skills, we talk about different ways that we keep organized and share different stories on how to better do that, and we talk about different tools, and yeah.
Great. Joe, can you share a little bit about some of the experiences that you've had with our current Passport Success student?
Right, so I am also a resident assistant in St. Jerome Hall in addition to my work with the PALS program. And at the beginning of the year, we found out that the student in our Passport program lives very close by to me in the North Halls community. And so that was a perfect segue for me to begin my work as a PAL mentor. So I met him early on during opening weekend because the RAs were in the process of getting to know our residents, and we instantly started to build a relationship. I began by helping him find out where his classes are, showing him the different places on campus where he can study, eat, different resources that are available to him. One of the major obstacles that we had to overcome early on was that our student had difficulty logging on to his LaSalle portal and email account. And as you know, as students, that's a very important tool that we have, and we're expected to use it regularly. So we figured out our students' login information. Sarah and I went over to his room, and our student had 40 unanswered emails. Some of them were very important to his application process here at LaSalle. Some were related to his major and programs and different registration aspects. So this was a major obstacle that we overcame that day, and we gave him the skills, and now he knows how to do that on his own. But it's been a very rewarding experience so far, and we continue to be friends and communicate with each other regularly, either in the residence halls or at B&G for lunch or dinner.
Great. Sarah, were there any challenges working with this current Passport student that you had to overcome?
Yes. So as Joe mentioned, we had a problem with the emails. He also had an issue trying to find B&G in the beginning, but Joe luckily helped him out there. We've also had organizational issues and I guess time management and knowing when a paper is due in the morning and that you have to go and print out the paper before class, and sometimes the library's not open before that, especially for an 8 a.m. class. So working with him on organization skills and time management seems to be something that we need to work on.
Great. So our current Passport student has some struggles with written expression, which is a common struggle faced by many students on the spectrum. And it basically refers to the ability to take your thoughts and your words and put them into concrete writing that is followable to other people reading it, not just by the writer. So Joe, how are you working with our Passport student on developing these skills better?
Right, well, written expression is a challenge that's faced by virtually all incoming freshmen because the level of writing that is expected at a college setting is much different than what is expected on the high school level. So with our current passport student, we've met several times to brainstorm ideas for a particular paper, think about the topic, and discuss it as well. And then we translate that brainstorming session into a graphic organizer or a web. And then from there, I allow him to write the paper, and then eventually at the very end of the writing process, I check for grammar and give him pointers on how to improve. Now, I offer the same service to my own residents in my building, and the key is that the students still write their own papers and they do their own assignments, but all writers benefit from having a second set of eyes take a look at their work. So the student is still independent, and ours very much is, but it's just an added resource, and all students can benefit from that. I've also helped our student figure out the different opportunities he has to improve his writing on campus. The first option is always visiting the professor for the course that the paper was assigned, because they offer valuable feedback to improving the paper prior to the deadline and to meet their own personal expectations. We also have the Shiki Writing Center, which I told our passport student about, located in Olney Hall. And the Writing Center is a great resource because they have their own tutors that help with papers and written assignments for virtually every subject, and they can provide one-on-one tutoring and support for that as well.
Great, okay. Sarah, you're involved in multiple organizations on campus. How have you been able to use your training as a PAL in the other organizations that you've been involved with?
So I've been able to take a lot of what we've done in Ladder and bring it back to REACH, because it is an organization that works with a very similar population. We go out each week and help with Special Olympics practice. So we've been able to kind of take our experiences from working in Ladder and I guess implementing them and using them for Special Olympics. I've also taken my experiences with Ladder into the National Student Speech, Language, and Hearing Science Association and been able to partner with them for different things, for fundraising. We fundraised this past 2 weeks for the Autism Walk that is coming up this weekend, but I took the experiences here and brought them back to those two organizations. The Mask is also trying to start volunteering with a theater group in Norristown, Pennsylvania, that does theater with children with autism as a form of therapy for social development.
Great. So the main goal of PALS is to form this reciprocal relationship between the peer mentors and the passport student. So you guys have been working with our passport student from the beginning of the semester now. Can each of you share kind of one of your best experiences with them and what you've been learning from them so far?
The most rewarding experience for me is seeing our passport student just simply walking from class to class in the morning, or seeing him work in the library late at night on a paper, because that's really what it's about. Our student is very independent and he works on his own, but we all need a little support from time to time. And the fact that we are able to provide services when we are needed and able to, and translating that into his success, that's really a rewarding experience for me. We've also become very good friends. Every time I'm walking down the street and he sees me before I see him, he always stops to say hello and to talk with me. And if I see him in the cafeteria, I always stop in for a few minutes and say hello and to visit with him. So in addition to being his mentor, we've also become very good friends.
Great.
For me, it's been a lot about the relationship and the fact that it's not just a one-way relationship and that both of us are getting something out of it. It's rewarding, as Joe was saying, to see him around campus and in classes. And it was also very rewarding to see him at the activities fair. I thought that would be something that for a student on the spectrum, I thought that would be something overwhelming and something to stay away from. And he was there, and he was signing up for different activities, and he was super excited about it. So it was a heartfelt experience.
Great. And Joe, you also kind of had this idea of taking your training as a PAL and passing it on to other resident assistants. Can you talk a little about that?
Right. Well, the resident assistants go through a very rigorous training program. We come back to school 2.5 weeks before the semester begins, and from 9 to 5 every day, we are engaged in training sessions, learning about the many different resources and programs that LaSalle has to offer us as resident assistants and also the student body. So one of the ideas we're currently discussing with the executives from the Ladder Center and also with community development is having a sensitivity training session during RA training, because we're trying to build a very inclusive community between students, faculty, and staff members. And that really falls in line with the LaSalle University mission. So every student learns differently. We all do. And we're all individual human beings. So with this sensitivity training, we're learning on how to be very inclusive beings and working well with each other.
Thank you both for sharing your experience as PALs and informing us about what you do as peer mentors. I hope that all of you at home watching have learned something from this broadcast. We invite you all to learn more by visiting our website or sending an email or calling the Ladder Family Center.